I said I'd do a little video of the inside of the camper van so you can see what amenities we've got. So fairly standard stuff really. There's a little table stashed behind the driver's seat, overhead locker, lots of little cubby holes, fly screen so we can have the door open and not get any midges or anything in here. All the control panels for water and heating and I'm not quite sure what, to be honest. Cooker, so we've got a two burner cooker. I think we've got 3 of everything for some reason, you know, plates, bowls, plenty of locker space for clothes and what have you. I've just strung a piece of string up there to make a little ad hoc washing line if we want to dry a towel or something. There's a telly in here. This is where we just stow the bedding during the day, and we've got this bed which is electrically operated, so you do this and it converts itself. How cool is that? And back again. So that's yeah, that's quite a neat trick. Plenty of plug points, microwave, quite a big fridge actually. Oh look, a dirty great big bottle of gin, what a surprise. And oh, fairly big freezer. Oh, hang on, my kettle's boiling. There we go. What else have we got? Oh yes, this little bathroom affair. Now this is snug. There's no other word for it. So yeah, so you've got a hook for stuff, light, put your shower head in there, shower head thing falls out, etc. Oh, sometimes it goes back in as well. Oh, there we are. Little toilet, you don't want to see inside there. But I did manage to have a shower in that this morning, so it can be done. But generally, you know, unless it's the middle of the night, we're going outside and using whatever campground facilities are available. I'm going to go outside now and show you where we are tonight. So tonight we're camped in a provincial park. You get your own little picnic bench and a fire pit, and we've bought some firewood, so we're going to have a fire tonight. And you can see the river quite fast flowing, and that empties out into a big lake which is just through those trees there. The weather, it's been quite mild but sort of intermittently showery. I'm just going to flip the camera around now. There we go. So we've had a few adventures on the way. The first big adventure, I suppose, was trying our first night of free camping, and there were a couple of things that we found on a website or an app called iOverlander, which recommends various places that you can park for the night for nothing. And the first couple we drove past, and they were literally just laybys on the main highway, so we didn't fancy that very much. And we ended up going to this place called Strawberry Recreation Ground, Steve says, which was on the shores of the lake. Now I think I might have posted something, a picture of that anyway. It was really, really nice, but getting there was an absolute fucking nightmare. We saw this sign and it said it's down a forestry service road, which basically means a gravel road, quite a wide gravel road, and it was quite flat mostly, or it looked quite flat, but it was actually really bumpy, and things were falling off the shelves and all the bedding ended up on the floor, and it was quite hair-raising. And it said it was 6 kilometres down this track. It turned out to be 6 miles, but we thought, you know, by the time we'd done the first couple of kilometres, we thought, well, you know, we're past the point of no return really, we'll carry on with it. And it did pay off, because it was really peaceful and really, really pretty. And there were facilities. There were a few long drop toilets with really nice quality toilet paper. And loads of it. It's actually the nicest toilet paper we've had since we've been here. Much better than the hotel in Vancouver had. So anyway, we went out from Vancouver, we went through to Squamish, and we bought our important supply, which was this bear spray, assembled in Canada. And what you're supposed to do is, when you're hiking or you're anywhere in a bear area, you hook this over your waist belt, and it's got this sort of neoprene holster, and then you whip it out the holster, take off this orange security catch and aim it at the bear and spray for about 2 seconds, and it emits this really horrible strong pepper spray apparently, which will make the bear run away, we hope. Anyway, we haven't seen any bears yet, not in the wild anyway. But apparently you have to wait, if you do see a bear, you're supposed to not make eye contact with it, just stay nice and calm, maybe sort of wave your arms up and down slowly to make yourself look bigger, and you're supposed to talk to it to identify yourself as a human. And then if the bear doesn't wander off and it starts coming towards you, you've got to wait until it's only 1 car length from you before you spray it. Oh God, I really hope I'm not going to have to do that. Anyway, what else have we got to tell you? Yes, so from the forest road we had to drive through the mountains, quite high mountains actually, and there was still quite a lot of snow on the ground up there. It went down to 3 degrees up on the top, which was the coldest temperature we've had so far. And we'd been going about, I don't know, 30 miles or something, and Steve said, oh, I think we might have a petrol problem. And we'd only got, how many miles? 50 miles worth of petrol left, and something like 70 miles to go. 78 miles to go. So that was kind of nerve-wracking really, but we stayed very calm. We didn't shout at each other because we had passed a petrol station and decided not to fill up the night before. So anyway, we got to the point where we were like down to 10 miles worth of range left on the petrol, and we, you know, it had been just showing empty for a while, and we basically made a plan that when we ran out of petrol we'd try, or Steve was driving, Steve would try and steer to the side of the road, preferably not on a bend, leave me in the van and hitch the rest of the way to the nearest petrol station, buy a jerry can, and then have to hitch back, and I would stay in the van. Anyway, thankfully there was a little bit of a contingency built in, because I think we did the last 7 miles with it showing 0 miles on the petrol gauge. And I have to say, when we saw that Chevron petrol station sign, it was the best sight that we'd seen all day. It was such a bloody relief. And it cost us about just over $150 to fill up with petrol, completely full tank, which is about 100 quid. So anyway, we then had to go and get a nice strong cup of coffee to calm us down and have a bit of a snack. And then we set off driving towards Kamloops.
Yeah.
Kamloops. Which took us past a little town called Cache Creek, not much more than a village really. And there was this man in a high-vis suit with a stop sign who sort of waved us down and said, oh, you know, you'll have to wait for the pilot vehicle to come round and he'll lead you through. And Steve was driving, he was like, oh right, yeah, okay, yeah. And then we said, just wait here. So we did, and we thought, what's he on about? We hadn't a clue what he was on about. It turned out that this little village had been affected by flooding 2 or 3 days before, and probably half the width of the main road had just been washed away. So they cordoned it all off and put a contraflow system in, but they got this big brightly coloured truck which was escorting one lane of traffic through at a time. So you had to wait sort of 10 or 15 minutes before it was your lane's turn to go through. And it was quite bad actually. You could see huge chunks of the road that had disappeared. And off to one side you could see part of the town that was still underwater, not terribly deep, but you could see that, you know, there had been sandbags and there was quite a lot of mud still on the road, even though they'd been clearing up for a couple of days. And the guy at the roadworks, he obviously assumed that we knew about this, and of course we had no idea at all until we drove through it. And because of that, we missed our turning off to Kamloops. So we had to find a place to do a U-turn and then join the queue to go to a contraflow for a second time to get back to the turning that we needed to go on. After that, it was all quite plain sailing, really. I'm just going to have a sip of my tea. Oh. That's better. Anyway, we finally got to Kamloops and we parked up at this RV park right next to the British Columbia Wildlife Park. And we just had an hour before it closed, so we went in there and had a look around and saw our first bears, although obviously they were in captivity. 2 grizzly bears, one of them sitting at a picnic bench, one of them in a bathtub, and they were quite entertaining. There are a few other bears there, allegedly, that we didn't actually manage to see, and some wolves and what else was there? Foxes and birds of prey. They were quite good. We saw a couple of bald eagles that had been rescued after road accidents and couldn't fly properly, and they were in there together and they had a bit of a scrap and, you know, fighting with talons and you know, going for it. On the road we've seen a few deer. We passed a bighorn sheep this afternoon, a couple of smaller furry things that we're not quite sure what they are, maybe groundhog or something like that, various squirrels, a few birds and things. Just going back to the weather, on the western side of British Columbia and in the central regions, they've had unexpectedly high temperatures, which has caused the snow to melt really quickly, and that's what's causing the flooding. So quite a lot of areas are under flood risk, and over on the eastern side of the state they've got wildfires burning, which we can only assume have been started during electrical storms or something. But apparently there's, according to the radio, there's something like 102 wildfires burning on the eastern side of British Columbia, which just seems absolutely crazy in this weather, because basically it's mild and it's damp and it's quite rainy. But it's almost like they're not expecting the rain because they've still got massive sprinklers watering all the fields. Just, I guess it's, you know, all computer programmed and they can't stop it, but it does seem a bit crazy. Anyway, we are going to attempt to light our fire pit in a little while. That should be a laugh. And this has ended up being a really long video, but I had a lot to tell you. So that's all for now, and we'll next report in a couple of days. Bye!